So who wants to talk about the 5 stocks that we'd hold for the next 20 years? I bet you a lot of people can't wait to hear what we have to say on this. So imagine picking a handful of companies today and letting them pay for decades, assuming they would, right? Because that's what this show is going to be about, that we're going to pick the best 5 stocks for dividend purposes for the next 2 decades.
Just lock in.
No pressure
see
there,
you in
Paul.
20 years.
It doesn't matter.
Just let your kids graduate.
Who gets elected as president. Doesn't matter what the economy is going to do over the next 2 decades.
Who wins the Super Bowl?
Who wins the Super Bowl
Doesn't
or
matter.
World Series or NHL. It doesn't matter. All that matters, we're going to pick some stocks and see what happens over the next 20 years. So stay tuned in 20 years. We'll let you know how we did.
Have a follow-up.
All right. Well, 20 years does sound like forever. Statistically speaking, Blockbuster didn't even last that long.
It's just crazy.
Which
That
is
is
nuts.
crazy.
That was like my
It
childhood
feels like
favorite
my whole
place.
life, though, Blockbuster. That was like
I look
all
forward
the
to like
meaningful years.
Yeah, those nights we'd go to Blockbuster and pick out the VHS, you know,
See,
before they went to DVD.
Y'all lived in big cities. My small town, we had movie time.
Never even heard of
That
it.
was it.
That probably didn't last nearly as long as
It was
Blockbuster.
locally owned. It actually lasted much longer because
did
it was
it?
the locals. And we didn't have DVD players.
Well, did you
and stuff.
did you get
We
your
didn't have
first
streaming.
date when you walked into Blockbuster? Like a lot of my
Oh, that was dates.
Yeah, that was date. That was you walked in there to get a date, not a movie.
Really?
Yeah, in my town, Blockbuster, you'd go
Wow.
down there, and my guy friends they'd walk out with a date. I'm like, how'd you do that? Yeah,
All right, that's another show.
yeah, another show.
We're going to be talking about
It's
that.
just
Well, if
what
you
I
wanted to
think
see
of when I
that
think
movie,
of Blockbuster.
They only had 10 copies, so it's like,
Oh, wow.
you
That's
got
hilarious.
it.
Yeah, the good movie.
Come on
Watch it,
over.
really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, and you go with the girl that
You just
wants
wait till
the same
somebody goes
movie.
to pick
You're
and you're
just
like
cherry picking at
yeah.
the front.
Do you
Yeah.
care if I watch it with you?
You go to the best movie
hilarious.
or the romantic section.
All right,
You
let's
always
talk
go.
about stocks.
Sorry, my fault.
Wow,
My fault.
that was crazy. All right, let's set up some ground rules. Now, first of all, this is not advice. We're getting ready to list 5 stocks, so I know everybody's going to be like, all right, what are they? They're going to grab their pen and be like, all right, tell me what 5 stocks to go
Strictly
buy.
for fun.
This is literally for fun for this show. All right, there are some criteria. So we did use some criteria to build this list of 5. We are going to talk about 5 stocks. Here's the list. So first one, they have a long track record of paying their dividend. When I say long, we're talking more than 20 years typically, because we're using a 20-year track record. All right. I want a strong brand, a recognizable one that most people would either use or know of, or have used a product that they didn't know that company was behind, have a lot of cash on hand. When I say a lot of cash on hand, I'm not talking like a few billion. I'm talking about enough cash on hand that they could pay their dividend for years and years and years. Some case, longer than 20 years.
Yes.
That means they have enough cash to pay their dividend for the next 20 years, which we could almost say, we're good.
That's right.
Because for the next 20 years, I'm going to get paid. We don't need the company to make anything. So that criteria should be at the top of the list, although it's not.
But we also know some companies make poor financial decisions.
Yes.
And can
Eat
burn
up that
through cash.
Yes.
That's right.
Because we have some stocks in our portfolio that can pay their dividend for greater than 100 years. But we know that they're not going to hold that much
Based on
cash.
their business
Right.
model.
And I will say what goes in hand with cash is their dividend obligation. So you might have a company that has, $100 billion in cash, but can only pay their dividend for 5 years.
Right.
You have another company that might have 50 billion in cash, but can pay their dividend for 50 years because they have a less dividend obligation. So that stuff matters. It's not how much money they have. It's what's the obligation of the dividend they have to pay.
It's those outstanding shares
Yes,
that they have.
that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And how committed are they to their shareholders? When times get tough, are they just going to be like, oh, we're just going to cut that dividend?
Yeah.
Heck no. Like
Is
at the
it
end
part
of
of
the day,
their overall
yeah,
like, do they
strategy
want- right.
for growth.
Yeah, through
'cause-
when the going gets tough, when the markets go up and down, or is it still your commitment?
So what we're about to do, because we're about to pull the wool, or not pull the wool over. That's
Take
funny.
up on the
Freudian slip
curtain.
there. But what we're about to do is give up the 5 stocks that we're talking about. But let me give you an analogy about this. This is like for you fantasy football holders out there, the ones that love to play. I'm playing a fantasy league with my family, which is super fun. It's like saying, okay, of all the rookies, now these aren't rookie companies, but in fantasy football, because they don't normally play for 20 years, we're going to pick a team and we're going to play that exact team against our competition for the next 20 years.
Right.
Good luck winning any.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
it lost me already on that one.
Exactly. But that's kind of what we're doing. This
Yeah.
is how
Better pick
outrageous
some
this
kickers.
is.
Yeah, you
the
better.
kickers are the longevity.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna put all kickers in there. But that's how outrageous this is. That we're gonna
Yeah.
pick stocks and we're liking it to like a baseball team or basketball team or whatever, and we're gonna ride these players for 20 years, good, bad, or indifferent. Who's signing up for that?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yet we're about to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's break out the list. Okay. First stock. Are we ready? We're going big. Microsoft. Which is funny because a lot of our clients right now are going, wait, let me look at my.
Yeah.
It's not in my
Wait.
portfolio. Why are we
Ends?
picking Microsoft now? They're a big technology company. Everybody knows that. And they're one of the biggest owners of AI in the world. So from a where we're headed standpoint, Microsoft is positioned wonderfully. They've been paying their dividend for 24 years. Well, they've been paying it for a very long time, but for the past 24 years, they've increased it. So they're not only dedicated to paying their dividend, I think the first time they started paying their dividends back in the late 80s or early 90s. I didn't look that up. I should have.
Yeah. It was in the 90s.
In the 90s. And I don't think they've missed a whole lot of payments since then.
They're going for that aristocrat
Status. And they've been increasing their dividend for 22 years, and they've been paying their dividend consistently without a decrease for at least 24 years, which is awesome. Okay.
Funny enough, that's how much cash they have on hand.
Yes. They can pay it forever.
24 years.
So Microsoft right now could pay their dividend for the next 20 plus years and really not have to bring in a whole lot they just need to cover their expenses for the next 20 years, and they have enough cash to pay all their dividend over that same period of time, which is amazing in and of itself.
especially whenever you think about a tech company, which they're notorious for just
Spend.
burning cash.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're a very mature company as well. I mean, they've been around for a very
Ever.
long time. So the fact that they still have a balance sheet that looks that strong is pretty impressive. for
Pretty
a tech
impressive.
company.
And the funny thing is, you look at an Apple who reinstated their dividend when Tim Cook came back in. They got tons of cash. They could pay their dividend for nearly 50 years, but their history of dividend is terrible.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
Not
A lot of high value, cut it, crush. I mean, they crushed their dividend in 2020. Their stocks get exploded.
Yeah.
They sold all kinds of product. And you know how they rewarded their shareholders? They cut their dividend by 60%. That's not a company
Did
that I
some
want.
buybacks. And that
Yeah.
was about
Now,
it.
Apple's been a great growth stock, but from a dividend payer, terrible. Never make this list.
Yep.
All right. Next up, Nucor. What's Nucor?
Man, cool thing is they're right here
Yeah.
in Charlotte. They're a steel company. They recycle a lot of steel. Very kind of at the forefront of technology within the steel and recycling manufacturing. So
They're on the
it's a
forefront
really
of
cool
that.
company.
And one of the beautiful things, not only in the U.S., but one of the beautiful things across the world is this renewed fight for not green energy, but green building, where, hey, how can we build something with the least amount of blueprint to ruin, our atmosphere? So there's a huge push right now for clean steel.
Yeah.
And there's a plant actually in Switzerland. I have a buddy who's very in the steel industry, and there is a plant it's in Switzerland. It's 3 consecutive plants. The first plant does something, and then it goes into the second plant that does something that goes into the third, and there's zero emission. They can make steel
Yeah,
and have no effect to the environment.
Or just like
And exists now. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Billions and billions of dollars for these plants. I think that one was like 10 billion for the 3. But they can create steel with no harm to the atmosphere. So Nucor is very much on the new front.
Yeah.
What are some of their stats?
So they've got 52 years of dividend increases. So they've been paying for much longer than this, but for 50 plus years, they've been consistently paying and increasing their dividend, and they have 20 years worth of cash on hand.
So they
pay
checked that
dividend.
20-year mark.
They did.
And a lot of clients looking at that list going, okay.
Nucor's on there.
Yeah, we're good.
We've had Nucor for a long time. Next up.
And they're a great grower. Like really since, the past coming out of the pandemic and a lot of just what's happening in both administrations, it's really kind of moving this new infrastructure and rebuilding America, which has really had a nice pop
And
to
it's a
their stock
global
price.
thing, yeah.
Correct.
All right, next up, Coca-Cola.
Never heard
Not
of
sure.
Nikki should take this one.
Yeah, well, I'm not
You want
sure.
to talk about Coca-Cola?
Yeah, we had to have a little fight before this call. Yeah, it's got an ugly can. I don't know. It is.
I
hard.
love Coca-Cola brand.
Warren
I'm just
Buffett
saying
had
that
a
right now.
conversation with me, and he told me that I need to open my mind and my heart. But I'll always be a Pepsi girl. But
Well, the rest of the world is Coke.
Yeah. Sorry.
we'll fight about that after. But it has. But then again, Pepsi's a pretty good one too. I know it didn't make the list.
Well,
but
Warren Buffett loves
it's-
Coke, not Pepsi. Just saying.
I know. And Warren Buffett had a chat with me. Other than that, I'd use the whole session to argue with you. But I guess I'll let you win that one.
They have.
I do like their little bear. Their little bear,
their
and I do
Coca-Cola.
love the
Yeah,
only
the
way they get
Christmas.
me is that glass bottle
Yeah.
in the
It's iconic.
old timey. Yeah, there's a little
Yeah. The one
nostalgia.
that Pepsi knocked off, right?
Yeah. They tried.
Next, we'll go back to Blockbuster and dating at the romantic section. If you bring this up again,
So they don't have a crazy amount of cash on hand, but they could pay their dividend for about 6 years or so.
Yeah.
And the reason why they made the list isn't because they have so much cash on hand,
not because their soda tastes better than Pepsi.
but they are a barn burner of profit.
Right.
They have paid their dividend forever.
It's like 65 years of consistent
Increases.
increases. And it's been like the early 1900s
Yeah.
that they started paying. Like it's insane. It's over 100 years. I believe.
Yeah. So they make the list mostly because of their brand, the fact that they are revenue, and they actually do very good in bad economies. They almost do better in bad economies than they do in good economies. And they do great in good economies.
Yep.
Right.
So they're resilient to economics. So this is the one in here that might not fit financially, but fits economically.
Yeah.
And they have
Test-
they're always-
soda drinkers are always going to buy soda. And now
and
they're
it's
just
cheap
spread.
compared to some
and
of
if
the
you
other stuff.
if you travel
It's not
to
something
like
you're cutting out.
You're
if
not
you-
exactly.
to third world countries, and you wouldn't think like, hey, why would you talk about a third world country? Because that's their water. Coke is their water, and
It's
like
safe.
Yes.
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's safe to
And
drink.
there's
Terrible.
constant purchase of it globally,
Yep.
and it's not just in America.
Well, and the other thing is it's gone through all the healthier world, people cutting things out, but yet soda still.
Well, now
They still drink it.
they're
It's good.
making it with cane sugar in the U.S., which they do out
I
in
know.
Mexico. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
I'll drink it in Mexico. I won't drink it here. I'll drink the cane sugar here because
Yeah,
I don't want all the garbage.
Well, and they're more than just soft drinks now, too, right?
That's true.
Like their
Right.
brand
Yeah,
has
the brand is
exploded
bigger than
into
that.
all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Healthy beverages, fruit juices, like it's all.
All right. Next up,
Yeah.
Franklin. What's Franklin?
So it's actually, it used to be Ben Franklin, and we had to do a little bit of research of what all they've got their hands in now, but it's really a financial and insurance institution. Yep.
Our clients are happy right now again.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
they're like, okay, so the first one they were like, what? The second one, like, okay. The third one, Coke, they were like, what the heck? Why don't? And now we're back, okay, back in good graces again.
But they do the increasing every year. They could pay it for 50 years with what they've got. So it's
They've increased for 44 straight
years.
years.
And
which
they're
is
one
awesome.
of the ones that actually have a really nice yield as well. Like they've seen some great, like they're a great stock, but then they also pay a really good dividend.
And their cash on hand, they could pay for 50 years.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
That means,
That is
hey,
crazy to
just
think about.
make enough profit to cover your expenses, and we'll just keep the cash in the bank, and we can pay for 50 years. Good grief.
right. That
And
is
they're a
crazy to think
cash,
about.
like they are a profit center.
Yes. When you think about financial institutions, insurance companies, just the stipulations that
Yeah.
are around insurance companies, they have to keep a lot of cash.
So next up is Invesco. Invesco is a real estate company. They kind of manage real estate or manage companies is one of their arms, and the other one is they own a bunch of real estate. They could pay their dividend for 74 years of cash in hand to pay their dividend. That's crazy
Yes.
when you think about that.
We need to just buy more of them.
They have a very low dividend obligation.
Yep.
So their
Right,
outstanding shares are low. It's a very strong stock. It's another one. So 3 of the 5 stocks are in portfolios that we manage. Actually, we
They're
have all
all-
the stocks.
they're all in there,
depending
just
on the
different
portfolio.
portfolios,
But
yeah.
the vast majority of our clients are like, hey, I don't know.
We're missing 2.
of those. So we're very big on this. Okay, why did we pick 20 years? Okay, 20 years is really just an arbitrary number. We just picked 20 years out of a hat.
Yeah.
But it's 2 decades. It's hard to predict over a 20-year period. That's why we picked the 20. Are we going to set and forget these? No, there's a ton of risks here. You know, the last thing, and I'll go back to that fantasy football analogy. Like, I would never pick a player Do you remember
Even a
when
kicker.
the first year I ever started doing fantasy football was when Marshall Falk was like the point. Like he would get on the field.
First,
He was
That's all you could
one of
talk
the
about.
rare backs that he could do the screen game. You know, he could run for 150 yards and he could catch for 150 yards in the same game.
Yep. And have
You know,
4 touchdowns.
and he would throw a pass every now and then too. And he was like the original, like I mean, there might have been players back in the day that would got more, but Marshall Falk was a crazy athlete. But he was only that way for like 4 or 5 years,
Right.
not 20. To find a stock that would do what we're talking about for 5 years, this is risky. Okay, there's nothing guaranteed here. The reality is, I would never recommend setting 5 stocks and forgetting it. Now we're like playing a game here on a show.
Yeah, I was going to
having
say.
fun.
And we're like, hey, if we were to do this, the likelihood that we could hold these 5 stocks is there. Will we? Not sure.
Yep.
Okay. If you look at Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola's been held by Warren Buffett for decades and decades and
Yeah,
decades.
if there is.
Like he's making almost $1 billion a year in
insane.
dividend income because he's held it for so long.
Yep.
And we could make a case for all of these, but we are in no part saying, hey, set these and forget these.
Yeah.
That is the worst thing you could do.
Well, and I mean, not only would your life change 1,000 times and your needs, but the world changes. And we were joking about Blockbuster, but it's real. I mean, things do change. I mean, look at what's even changed over the last handful of years. So would you be quote unquote okay? Maybe, but could you do significantly better if you were monitoring and watching them and making
and even
sure
though
they
we're
stay
talking
aligned?
about 20 years, we could get 15 in and go, hey, we need to sell X of
Right.
the 5.
Yeah.
You know why? Like, I'll love to look back in 20 years and go, hey, did we hold all 5 of those? And we have all 5 of those in different portfolios.
Right.
And since we bought them, we've never sold them.
Right.
Ever. Will we? I don't know. But it doesn't mean we won't. Now, I would hold these potentially. That doesn't mean I will hold or we will.
It's also fun to go through the exercise of like
It is.
how we evaluate companies and like
Yeah.
kind of lift up the hood a little bit. Like these
really
are
what this show's
These
about.
are real. These are real parameters that whenever we're deciding on what stocks go in to make up our client's portfolio, it's a real thing that we're looking at. Those 3 metrics.
Any last takeaways?
Well, and not to be confused with individual stocks versus dividend stocks. I just to get in the fact that dividend stocks in general are something to hold over the test of time. They compound that ongoing payout of the growth and the reinvestment, but just maybe not leave them in the same 5 and forget them. But the dividend concept for 20 years, I'm in.
Love it.
Type of thing. Just to clear that up for any of people who are sitting out there. It's not dividend stocks. It's 5 same that you never look at. That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like in NVIDIA, like back when I was in high school or even getting out of college, like I knew NVIDIA because some of the products that they sold, but nobody was like, hey, I got to go buy some NVIDIA stock. Now you say NVIDIA and like, everybody's like, yeah, I wish I would have bought that before it exploded. Nobody talked about it before.
Right.
And there's probably going to be a future potentially where everybody's like, yeah, I'm glad I sold NVIDIA before it crashed because the competition out there is fierce in AI.
Right.
I'm not saying it's going to bottom out, but the reality is they got a lot of competition that are vying for their spot.
Yep.
Right.
And it's not like
it's very
they're
different
always
than
going to be
3
out
years
front. Yeah, very different.
2 years ago.
You know, you have companies that have more money than they do,
Right.
that are chomping at the bit to take over the number 1 spot. And there might be a point in 10 years that you're like, NVIDIA, do they still make chips? Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the case.
Sure.
But the reality, it could be.
Could be.
You know, because there's so many other
Or
companies.
they just get absorbed by someone.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with players in football. Certain guys might be pretty stinking good, but then some other guy comes in and all of a sudden,
I know.
maybe,
Had a
maybe
good
you want
3-year
them on
run.
your team
it.
instead.
So a couple things here. First of all, if you found this useful, that's great. I'm happy. That speaks to my heart. We'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. If you do subscribe to the channel, we offer this thing. It's called the Dividend Starter Kit. So the only way you get it is by being a subscriber and then just go into the chat or DM us and just write in Dividend Starter Kit and we'll send it right to you. It's pretty awesome. It's a little bit bigger of a document. It'll give you basically the ins and outs of how to build a dividend portfolio on your own. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed yourself.